Hello, my name is Esther and I will be teaching kindergarten. And after looking at everybody's post, I noticed that everybody's answers are so different. And it doesn't mean that anybody's answers are wrong, it just has to do with the learning style that you would be implementing in the classroom. And I think it's important for us to assess. Looking at the diagram and the way I analyzed it is my personal experience whenever I was a lifeguard. I just noticed that everybody has a different teaching style, and I noticed that whenever I got an assistant, she just had a different approach of teaching the children different ways of how to learn the strokes, and a lot of the kids who didn't get it the first time learned it in a different way because it was taught in a different perspective. The first part of the diagram that I will be going over is attitudes that foster learning and genuine human relationships. This has a huge impact in the way the kids learn. If you're not bright and happy and excited about learning the lesson, why should the students? I noticed that whenever I would stay up late or wouldn't have the most energy, a lot of the kids kind of weren't excited to get in the pool and learn the strokes. They kind of reciprocated the same energy that I had. And with the way kids learn is just having enthusiasm. If, Billy just did the first backstroke and I didn't acknowledge it or even give him a thumbs up or some kind of acknowledgement that he did a great job, why should he try in the next stroke? Why should he go home and be excited about something that he learned and tried so hard? It's just kind of a bummer whenever you try so hard and your teachers aren't enthusiastic about it. It's kind of disappointing from a teacher's perspective and also a parent. You just don't want to foster that kind of energy. We all do have our days, but I think that we should just leave them at the door and just create the best energy for the kids and just create a great atmosphere in order for them to feel excited, even if they don't get the stroke, just to show them that them trying is the best thing in the world, and they're going to keep trying until they get the stroke because you're giving them that push. The second part that I will go over is knowledge of subject matter to be taught, and I think that just has to do with just learning what you're going to teach, just having the most understanding of the subject and how you're going to implement that, how you're going to analyze, how you're going to connect it to other things in order for the kids to understand. If I don't know how to float on my back, I'm not sure how I would teach the other kids to float on their backs. And two parts of the diagram that I will be combining is personal practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge and learning and human behavior. I think how I assess those two parts of the diagram would be theoretical knowledge. I would just go over what keeps the students afloat, what's the science behind it, and the practical personal knowledge would just be them kind of conducting an experiment in the pool of seeing what works for them, what's going to propel them forward, what past lessons have they learned in the pool to help them learn the new stroke. Part of the diagram is skills of teaching that promote student learning, and as the years go by, we're just going to be learning different ways that's going to be better to implement the lesson. So it's just going to be trial and error until we learn what works for us, what the students are absorbing, what kind of characteristics we're going to have to carry within ourselves in order to make the lessons more fun. And the bottom of the graph is instructional decision making, plan, implement, evaluate. And with how I taught the kids the swim strokes, I made a lesson plan, and if I'm completely honest, I didn't follow it sometimes. Just feeling the attitude in the room. If the kids were tired, I wasn't going to follow that lesson plan. I would adjust it with how the atmosphere was. And this might have worked when I was a lifeguard, but I just don't think that's going to work when I'm a kindergarten teacher because there's going to be so many subjects, so little time of learning every subject. And I would go more with the book and just keeping track of what the students are learning, what they need to learn as individuals, what I can do to help them. And after observing both of the documents, it just kind of was an eye-opener that I would just have to work on my organization skills. There's just going to be so little time and so much materials that we're going to have to learn. I do think that kids do need a day off. I remember in kindergarten, whenever we would have those days off and we would just have a movie day, and those were fantastic. You know, it was the reward of our hard work, and then we would hop back on to whatever lesson we needed to learn next. And what the documents show is that we do have guidelines of what we will be teaching, and what I learned is that there's just so many teaching styles, and we kind of have to try out what the best teaching style is going to be for us and what's going to make our classrooms great as individuals.